On the B8 Stage 2 tunes, do Crackle tunes run rich to make that effect?
I mean,
No,
inherently, it's you have fuel being provided when there's generally no fuel at all. So sure, they're richer,
but they're not
but
running
it's not
rich.
running rich. It's just providing fuel in an ignition event later in the basically the coasting or the decel phase of the
Basically,
combustion cycle.
fuel is injected when the engine's not running.
It's
So
yeah, the
that's,
engine's in full
you know,
decel. So yes, the injectors are on for however long the duration
yeah.
is for the crackle event, and the ignition is manipulated to essentially
Yeah.
make that sound.
But just to be clear, we would never run the engine rich under any type of load. Um, having an engine running rich is bad for the engine.
Right.
It pollutes. Um, it can damage the engine by washing the cylinder walls down.
Yeah. When we're talking rich, we're talking like outside of a normal
Yeah.
targeted
There's
expected.
there's a certain amount of richness you can go from stoic to you can go from lambda of 1 to 0.85, and that could be strategic. That's not running rich. You're just providing more fuel for good safe
Yeah.
combustion. But running rich would be providing excess fuel beyond what can be combusted
Right.
and what can be used by the engine to produce power. And we don't do that. So, but in order to create crackles, fuel is injected when the engine is off load, and that fuel just goes right through the combustion chamber into the exhaust, and it's basically in a raw or vaporized state.
Yeah, I mean it's
When it hits
ignited,
your
but it's much later in the cycle, so you're going to hear a lot more of that energy release, after the exhaust valve opens, and that's your crackle.
it's just not combusted.
Yeah,
It's not pressurized propagated combustion.
it's not turned into mechanical energy.
Yeah, and the factory vehicles do it. The way crackles are done does not damage the engine.
Yeah, and this is again, that's a good point. It's a factory strategy
Yeah.
on a lot of cars these days because it's so desired by so many people. So yeah, it's done exactly the same.
Actually, all cars used to do this.
Yeah,
even
well, and then-
even in carburation days, the fuel did not always cut off.
it never did. There's almost I don't know. I mean,
There
until the
was
computers came in line, like
Yeah.
the mechanical stuff, you'd have a vacuum. You'd still have some airflow through the carb, and you'd have some fuel residual after you lifted, and you'd get some popping and cracking
yeah.
when you got off.